What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back again with another post-game live stream as Spurs drew yesterday in the Arctic Circle away to Bodø 2-2. Coming back from 2 goals down, the second time in, 3 games we've come back, or 4 games we've come back from 2-0 down to claim a point. Good mentality shown, but some still clear problems we got to sort out. To talk through everything, we've got Amir, who's out in Toulouse at the moment. He's made his move. Amir, nice to see you, man. How you watched the game yesterday?
Oh, of course. You know, even though I'm now over in France, there's nothing will stop me from watching the Spurs.
And were you getting as frustrated as a lot of the fans over here were watching that game, especially for the first hour or so?
Mate, that first half hour was some of the worst football I've seen from Spurs in a very, very, very long time. We were just so blunt up front, doing nothing, lethargic. It really worried me, actually. That performance really, really worried me. Of course, there are positives to take, right? We didn't come away with any injuries, and we did manage to sneak a point, you know, right at the end. But a lot more things to be worrisome about than positives, I think, with that kind of performance out there.
Yeah, I mean, after the game, a lot of people pointing fingers at a lot of different things. You know, was the lineup changed too much? Is it not the Is it Frank himself, his approach that is causing the problems? Is it Tottenham underestimating Bodø on the day? You know, after we beat them comfortably last season in the Europa League semi-final. There's a lot of people giving a lot of reasons, excuses, or blame to be led. Like, when you look at kind of what you saw yesterday, where were you kind of most frustrated? Did you feel like if Frank didn't rest the likes of Xavi, Kudus, Paulinho, was that the crux of it? Was it just a case of, you know, we had a team out there that should be good enough to win, regardless of kind of rested players on the bench? You know, you look at the starting 11, not too dissimilar to the team we went to Bodø with last season and won comfortably. So should that team be good enough to win anyway? And how much a worry is it, you know, that we didn't create anything until like Kudus came on, really, and on the hour mark?
So yeah, there's a couple of things to pick apart there, Sim. I personally, I do think Frank got the team selection a bit wrong. I think this is one of those games where you actually you play your strongest team. You go ahead, you get the first goal, the second will come. With the team he put out there, we should still get 3 points with that team that was out there, but you know, a mix of the players not being able to link up properly, not understanding, you know, kind of attacking plays. We were just so blunt. And then to add into it, the kind of, you know, you think about the Richie chance early on. I mean, any striker worth his salt, right foot, left foot, you're just smashing that ball and it's a goal. Like,
I've watched it back. I don't know what he's trying. Is he trying to take a touch? I don't know what he's trying.
Mate, I think he was in his own world for that one, to be honest with you. I mean, any striker worth his salt is putting that in the back of the net. So I think it's a combination of Frank choosing the wrong players and then the players not really rising to the occasion. You know, was it a bit of complacency? Maybe, because, you know, in the back of our minds, we beat these guys, you know, in the semi-final, we should, you know, roll them over again. But I actually thought, you know, huge credit to Bodø. The way they played was fantastic. It was everything they were doing were the things that we should have been doing. You know, taking shots, popping shots, getting lots of players into the attack.
Way they keep the ball and they pass it around, and you see when they're in the on the edge of our area and the passes they're able to pick out, and the way they protect the ball, they create chances, they create shooting opportunities for their teammates. It was night and day compared to what we were offering. And you know, you consider their resources, how much, you know, money is available to them. I understand their journey and they're kind of an unbelievable kind of miracle club, the way they've come to where they are now, which is Champions League football. You know, every year they seem to be improving, and you know, they've taken kind of everyone in Europe by surprise by how good they've been in European football, in Europa League, Conference League, and now Champions League. You know, started off with 2 points in their first 2 games. They've done quite well for a club of their size. But how a club and a team with their resources can have more technical players than us. Well, what it seemed to me anyway, on the evidence I'm seeing yesterday, their team was more technical than our team. How can they have more technical players than what we have when our players like Brennan, Odebear even, they're costing tens and tens of millions. Brennan probably costs more than their whole team combined alone. I don't know for that for sure, but I'll predict Brennan probably costs more than their whole team combined, probably by even a lot, I would say. Because Bodø don't exactly have a big transfer budget. I don't think they're spending big money on players. Like, all their players are probably in the low millions, I would assume. They do everything with a process of their coach has been there for 7 years. He's developed this way of playing. Obviously, they clearly have good coaching staff. They develop their players technically. But it's crazy what I was seeing yesterday. I understand it's a 4G pitch and all these different things. There's all these excuses you can give. But I'm just forget quality of play. I'm looking at the way they're playing and the technical ability they're showing. Tight spaces, keeping the ball away from our players, dribbling in tight spaces in the box, getting shots off. Look at the second goal they scored. That guy, Hauger, dribbling past Porro and just firing it into the corner. Like, none of our players offered anywhere near the technical ability I was seeing yesterday from the Bodø players. And how was that possible?
It's a really good question, Sim. It's a really good question. It's one that I'm a bit dumbfounded by because, football for me is quite a simple game. It's not too complicated, and Bodø showed us that yesterday with the way they played. You get bodies forward, you get men around the box, you pop shots around, you become a threat going forward. Everything that we weren't. And I don't really have an answer for why we were so poor. It doesn't really add up when you look at the quality we kind of have, and especially with you think about some of the performances we had this season. Beating City 2-0 away and then going to Bodø and going 2-0 down. It just, things don't quite add up. I'm a little bit worried that there's certain players there that maybe aren't as motivated as maybe they should be. They get a chance in a Champions League game and they squander it. Really, they don't do anything. I'm looking at fringe players to come in these kind of games and prove that they want that starting place in the week in, week out. And I didn't see anyone trying to really grab that starting place in the team. And I am really worried about Frank's selections because I do think he's got it wrong in quite a few games, and I think that it's cost us. It's cost us. For me, I was kind of at half an hour into that game, I was screaming to make changes, to do something, to stick another body up top, to even get another person in midfield, get Kudus on, get Xavi on, and it took him, what was it, till 58th minute to make a first sub.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah, it took to the 60th minute. It was, and by that point, I think we were 2-0 down, were we? Or was it I think we just went 2-0 down a bit after we made all the substitutions. But it was the goal had been coming, hadn't it?
Of course it had. Yeah, you could see it coming.
It was only a matter of time. Frank, after the game, was asked. He was asked, was the plan part of the plan to sit back and counter? And he said, yeah, that was part of the plan. Obviously, also part of the plan was when we can to when we're able to press high and put them under a bit of pressure, but we weren't able to really do that on enough occasions, and we weren't able to find enough moments. But I don't know. I feel like. Should that be the plan? I understand Bodø are clearly a good technical side, good attacking side. And maybe we felt if we just sat back, countered and exploited their weakness, exploited their gaps they left, that would be the best approach. But it seems like we just gave them way too much encouragement.
But then, Sim, if you're going to do that, yeah, why in the world would you not have Kudus on the pitch from the start? If that's because that's what Kudus can do.
Yeah.
Literally. Drag you up the pitch. So why not? So Frank's telling me one thing, and then he's making a mistake with the selection with another thing. And I don't want to be too harsh, you know. Like I think Frank has a good start to his Tottenham tenure, but I I think it's a very very fast learning curve at the top, and he needs to start getting the team selections right week in week out, whether that's cup games, whether it's Premier League, because we need to be competing on all fronts.
And I think if you I think kind of if you look at the average positions of both teams, I think it kind of tells a bit of a story of what I'm talking about when it comes to how Bodø are able to play the kind of football they were yesterday. Yet when it seemed that we were attacking, it seemed as though we weren't able to create any similar opportunities. Bring on the the average position. So this is the average positions of yesterday. So Bodø, obviously you can see the arrow going down with Spurs going up. Now, if you look at the Bodø, look how close all the attackers are together.
Yeah.
Look how they're able to get players near each other, play little passing triangles, get when they support each other essentially when they're going forward, and they're able to kind of connect the play. You saw when they were in and around our penalty area, they were able to get little passes, get little shots off, just linking play, simple stuff. Then you look at our kind of average position. Now look how isolated Richarlison was. Look, he's nowhere near everyone. Odeberg as well, off the left-hand side, very far away kind of from all our kind of other attackers. Everyone was so deep. Everyone was kind of not getting forward. Brennan Johnson's average position was in our own half.
And he should be up in the corner. He should be up right at the top of the pitch. If you're going to counter, you need players that are gonna spread the play and going to be right up top. When you look at this, Sim, what you're showing me is it's really, it does tell the story. You're right. And you look at Richie up there. It's like playing with 10 men. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is, and it really is.
But I agree. It's like playing with 10 men, but. Richie's come in for a lot of criticism for yesterday.
Yes.
I agree, and I think a lot of it's deservedly so because for me, I feel like sometimes when fans say, that striker, he just didn't get the service and stuff. But I feel like sometimes that's happening too often. The player has to take a bit of responsibility of that. Is he making the right runs? Is he making the right movements? Is he showing for the ball enough? Mm-hmm. And I think that comes for Richie as well yesterday. But look how isolated he is. Every time like no one's near him. He's up there alone. Every time we played those long balls into him yesterday, he had 3 or 4 defenders on him. And that's all well, and I'm not saying that's fine, but I'm saying you can maybe handle that if you've got some players getting near him. So if he's got defenders around him, right, keep the ball and then you pop it off to a Spurs player and then you get players forward, you bring other players into play. But no one was near him. He had no support at all yesterday. Like, he had to do so much by himself. And that led to him, I think, in the first half, he had 4 touches on the ball yesterday. In that first half. One of them was obviously that mishit, that chance he should have obviously buried right at the start, which we were talking about. But, I mean, what's he supposed to do when he's so isolated? Why do we not getting more players support close to him? Is that because we were just too concentrating on hanging back and playing in that low block, and we did we not have the energy to get forward? Did we not find the right times to get forward? Frank said that when we won the ball back, we were giving the ball away way too sloppily and way too easily. So was that the reason we weren't getting near enough Richie? We were getting the ball back and then just giving the ball away easily rather than focusing on trying to get up the pitch and sustaining some sort of attacking play. I'm not 100% sure of the answer, but I can just say, look at that. Just look how far away he is from no one near him in an average position. And I kind of felt for him a bit yesterday, as much as I think he does deserve a bit of criticism as well, because when he did get opportunities to get involved, maybe he wasn't up to it. But I think far too often he was getting the ball with 3 or 4 defenders around him and no support.
Look, Sim, we always look for the scapegoat, right? Ever since the binding of Isaac, we're always looking for a scapegoat. And, Richie is that guy yesterday. Okay, you missed the chance, but the whole performance isn't up to him. The way we're playing is just not conducive with, a striker scoring 20, 25 goals a season. It's
Hmm.
just not. You go to Bodo, you said it yourself, playing a low block, Sim. Why are we playing a low block against Bodo
Hmm.
away from home? It really worries me, because we've heard all this about Frank being a master tactician and this and that, and he can tweak things in game, but he's getting it wrong from the start of the game. So, it's really, really tricky for me to kind of see where we go from here, because we've got such tough games coming up in the league. We've got Leeds away, we've got Villa, we've got Everton. Those are really, really tough games, and if we go in with the same kind of mindset we did against Bodo, I mean, we're getting beaten. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
Can't play that way against these top teams.
Yeah, and look, and we've invested heavily in our squad, and and I know people complain about our attack and complain about whether it's good enough or not, but you look at what Frank was doing with Brentford, and in terms of that attacking talent, and surely he should be able to get more out of what we've got at the moment. But at the end of the day, I have to also say, it's still very early on. So that's all these things when it comes to getting some sort of cohesive attacking unit, getting fluidity. That all takes time because
It
he's
does.
he's he's new to the job.
It
He's
does.
he has to work out the way Frank operates. He has to work out the players' strengths and weaknesses. And apparently, the way he operates is he develops the system and the way of playing for the team based on the relationships with the players, how what they're good at, what they're not good at. Like I remember he was saying like, okay, I had Sade on the left hand side, and I had
Mm.
to work out who's best to play with him because he likes to run in behind, he likes to do certain things. So he then put a certain player with Sade on that side, so they work better together and they develop a relationship because he felt like their strengths and weaknesses can complement each other. But with us, he's just got to work that out. And the only way you work that out is seeing it on the pitch, seeing how the players interact with each other, seeing what players are good at, what they react well to, what they don't. And I think all these teething problems at the moment that we are having, and it isn't nice to watch, and it's not fun at the moment because it's tough to watch how we're going forward. But I am hopeful still that he can work all of that out, and it's just going to take a bit of time. But we're going to have to be a bit patient at the moment.
No, I agree with that, Sim. I do think we need to have a bit of patience. It's the thing that we probably lack as Spurs fans the most. Just look at how many managers we've been through in the last 15, 20 years. Um, I do think us as fans, we need to be, kind of giving Frank a bit of time. It's just, it's difficult when you're seeing us go backwards in performances. Seeing City was amazing, West Ham was amazing, and then you kind of think about Bournemouth and Wolves and Bodo, and you think, well, that is two worlds apart. These kind of performances, and why is that happening? And we have to give Frank the time to fix those things, but we also need to be aware that and be realistic about the players that we have, the levels of ability, and where they can get us in the grand scheme of things. If we're looking at that attack now and we're thinking, yeah, it's blunt, yeah, we don't have enough. Well, there's a man over in Germany who scored over 100 goals, and we have a clause to go and get him back. So for me, we should be trying our utmost to get that deal done, if it's something that Harry wants, of course, because that will be a game changer for us. You stick a player of Harry Kane's quality into this team, everything changes. Everything
Yeah.
changes. It's as simple
Um,
as that.
yeah, I agree. And I think obviously that's also going to have to take a bit of time when we obviously need more windows. I think Frank's obviously going to need to work out
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. I think the most worrying thing though yesterday was just how. I think the worrying thing yesterday wasn't even the attack; is so how thoroughly outplayed we were, and how open we looked. Like in the back line, we weren't able to keep them. We weren't able to kind of keep them at bay when it came to going forward. They missed that penalty. They had they hit the bar late on, didn't they? They had us numerous chances throughout the game. If I look at the stats, they had 18 shots, and they had an XG of 2 and 2.5, which was over. We had 1.4, so far higher XG than us.
That's just
They had 36 touches in our box. They were just so much more kind of creative, and they were like so much. It was so hard to kind of stop them, and that is not something, even in our weaker games this season, apart from maybe Bournemouth. That's something we haven't seen too much of this season. Even in games, even against like Wolves, I know we played badly, but Wolves didn't have that many chances during the game. We still kept them relatively at bay, albeit they scored that goal. Most games this season, even when we haven't been at our best, we've kept the opposition to minimal chances. But this game, it's like we didn't seem to have any idea how to stop Bodø. And I don't understand what the reason for that was.
I don't understand it either, really, to be honest with you. Apart from that, we set up completely wrong for the game. You know, why are we playing? Why is Tottenham Hotspur going to Bodø, with all due respect to Bodø, and playing a low block? And it doesn't sit right with me. That's not the Tottenham way. That's not what we grew up on. That's far, far from it. So I am worried. I am worried. But like we said before, you do have to give Frank time. He's only been here for a couple of months.
And also, not just that, we still only have lost one game this season, so we are a lot harder to beat. We did come back yesterday. We came back from 2-0 down again, and so that does show traits that of positive spirit, mentality, and also whatever you want to say about Frank and our way of playing. And obviously, I've got complaints about it. Don't get me wrong, but at least with adding this set piece kind of element to our roster, to our armory, it kind of means even when we're not playing well like yesterday, we're never out the game. We've still got an ability to come back into it, because you just need a set piece or a corner, whatever, and you've got yourselves back in the game. And all of a sudden, you've got a foothold back in the game, even when you're not playing well. So it just gives you, something to cling on to, and it gives you another way of getting points on the board and getting results, even when performances like yesterday are not clicking and we're not our best.
No, I agree with that, Sim. And, I do think that since he's come in, his main objective has been to sort out that defence. He obviously saw what happened last season, and realised that was the main issue. And he has done better with the defence. It's just... yeah, it's a little bit worrying to see us concede that many shots to a team like Bodø, and honestly, we were really lucky to come away with a point.
And you look at the goals they scored as well, quality goals. It shows what the quality they have if you allow them to play. Unbelievable
goals. And that the penalty miss, bless him, that was like Baggio.
I've never, what, I think it made Baggio look like close. You know what I mean? That was one of the worst. I couldn't, I don't think I could miss by that much, even if I tried to miss by that much. You know what I mean? That was crazy how far away he got it away from the penalty, from the goal. Never seen a penalty miss by that much. That was one of the worst. But you saw with when you give them the opportunity to get shots off and get chances, those two goals by Hauger, brilliant. I mean, the first one curled it into the far corner, like from the edge of the corner of the penalty area. And the second one does a little trick past Porro and fires it from the edge of the box into the corner with his left foot. I mean, two brilliant goals, and you got to give them a lot of credit as well. As much as they were the better team and outplayed us, like, quality goals there. Two quality goals from Bodø. So massive credit to them.
Could Bodø be going through in the top 24?
I think the fact that they didn't win will obviously be frustrating. I think they were winning as well in the last one, and I think first game they were 2-0 down and came back to get 2-2. This one they were 2-1-0 up and gave up to give it 2-2. But I think they got a chance.
Yeah, I think they do. The way they play, if they keep playing like that, if they keep picking up points, why not? Why not?
They're a good team. Obviously, we're now 4 points in the first 2 games, which is, look, okay. For me, a draw yesterday, before the game, I was saying as much as I think we should win, draw's not the worst result. You know, you're away in Europe, a decent team like Bodø, it's not going to be the end of the world. We just got to make up for it against Copenhagen, against Slavia at home. And we got to beat one of Dortmund or Monaco or Frankfurt. We got to win a couple of those games. I think 15 points, I imagine, is good for top 8. About 15. So you need 5 wins. You need to find 5 wins. So we've obviously won 1 already with Villarreal. So you're looking at probably 4 wins out of PSG, Dortmund, Frankfurt, Monaco, Slavia, Copenhagen. We've got to find 4 wins out of that. Surely we should be able to. I mean, but then again, based on how we're playing, nothing can be guaranteed.
Nothing's guaranteed in football, Sim. Nothing's guaranteed, and we are going to have to raise our levels to new heights to progress in that top 8. I think it's going to be difficult now. It will be difficult. You've got really tough games, Monaco away, Paris away. These are really tricky games, really tricky. So I just want to see us qualify in that top 8, but I'm not 100% sure we'll get through there with the games we have left. I'm obviously hopeful, but yeah, we'll see. For me, the main focus now needs to be consistency in the league, getting back to winning ways there, because we need to be a lot better. We need to progress. We need to keep ourselves in that top 6, top 8, and the huge one for me is Newcastle away. In the cup, if he manages to get a win there and we go on a little run, I think it could be huge for us, because at the end of the day, winning trophies is what this game is all about. And people will forget about that Bodø performance if we go on a little Carabao run and maybe sneak into a semi-final and final in that one. So we got a lot of tough games coming up. And I do have a lot of belief in Frank. I know I've been a bit harsh on him here with some of his selections and some of his, but I really do think that he's a good manager. He seems like a really nice guy as well. The players have taken to him. We know what a wonderful job he did at Brentford. I just hope that we do give him the time and the board gives him the resources to achieve, because we've been in this situation so many times before. Right, and it is all change at Spurs. Levy is gone. The guy that held us back for many years on the footballing side, he is no longer there. So hopefully the relationship now between manager and board will be a lot better, and Frank can get the tools he needs in January and in the summer to really make us compete. I have big faith in Thomas, and I think he's worked his way up through the coaching world, through coaching youngsters to the amazing job he did at Brentford. We just need to show a bit of patience, and hopefully we'll get back to winning ways very, very soon. The Leeds game is huge. The Leeds game, before the international break, we need 3 points up there. And Ellen Road is a very difficult place to go. Yeah. Those Leeds fans will not make it a comfortable afternoon for us at all.
And they've started their season fairly well as well, Leeds. That's not going to be that's not going to be an easy game by any stretch. That's the match review. That